Was built in 969. We call it Al-Qahira, named after a planet that was in the sky at that time, Mars. Mars in Arabic is Al-Qahir. So they named the new city after the planet, Al-Qahira. Even when they changed the style in order to protect the mummies and cut their tombs underground in the Valley of Kings, 1500s, after the pyramids, it didn't work. We're heading south now, we're heading to the south, but we're going to take that ring road that we can see from here in order to go to the west. In front of us on the west side of the Nile is part of Giza. Downtown is to the right side. It's a little bit foggy. Within a couple of hours it burns off. Have two temples. One for mummification like this one, close to the valley. The other one for the funeral rituals, which was built to the eastern side of the pyramid. All of them have gone except this one. We call it the Valley Temple of the Second Pyramid, where Khafre was mummified. You may have seen that shaft next to the entrance where Khafre's statue was found, which is kept today in the museum. People use it today as a wishing well. The temple, as we can see over there, built of limestone and covered with granite. 10,000 kilometers down the river. Boats. Some of them are so big. Khafre was mummified here. They started mummification by washing and shaving the body.
She's now in a school like everyone and welcome, especially to our papyrus. The first time here in Egypt? Probably? Yeah. Never be the last. Really like it? Okay, before we start, we have hospitality drink over here, welcome drink. We have tea, mint tea, coffee and hibiscus. Okay with this? The river runs upper Egypt and south of Egypt. Tashkila. That plant was a holy plant by the pharaoh's time for only two reasons. First reason is the flower of the plant looks like the rays of the sun, which were symbol of Amun-Ra, Sanga. Second reason, the stem of the plant has shape of pyramid, triangular shape. You can see it's so clear. In order to make papyrus paper, first we cut the plant like this according to the size which we want, and first we remove the fine slices this way, but we can notice at the same time that the internal part is easy to break because it's full of sugar and water, and by the way, the sugar of this plant, it's not eatable, we can't eat it, but we can use it as natural base. In order to flatten it and to smooth the surface and reduce the quantity of sugar from 40% to 10%. A vertical and horizontal line. Of course, by the ancient Egyptian style, they have expressed you modern one indeed. So they used to make stones of heavy and soft alabaster instead of express. That's the plan. That's yours. After 12 days, 6 in water and 6 under the press, you will have the first inventor paper roll wallet from so. How can we know the real papyrus from the fake one? The real papyrus in front of light over here, you see the vertical and horizontal.
Klein Baumeisje. Böyle heavy?
There'll be big party tomorrow.
Wat zie je nou?
Daar komt de eerder, je wordt afgeleid.
There was a temple up here dedicated to the three main gods, Jupiter, June, and Minerva. The emperors, after the victories, they used to go there to make sacrifice. Horses, these are original statues. They lead to the Capitoline Hill designed by Michelangelo 450 years ago, the to Italy. He was King Victor Emmanuel II. He is represented on a horse right in the center. All the statues, they symbolize freedom, unification, and victory. You have the two chariots which are on top. Because your tour ends in Paris, are you going to the Louvre? Yes. You are going to the Louvre, the beautiful museum in Paris. Well, you will see the original statue of the victory of the wars. And inside the huge monument, we have a museum of the independence wars. The name of the square, Venezia, Venice, is because we have a building in front of us. The forum built by Julius Caesar. 3 columns left from the Temple of Venus, goddess of beauty and love. These areas were excavated at the beginning of the 1700s. But now they want to make new excavations. Look behind the net on the left-hand side. These are very new excavations. We could park our buses there until a few years ago. So the foundation of Rome took place on top of the hill where you see the trees on the right. 753 BC. After the conquered population were living on top of the other hills, they wanted to have a meeting place, and they chose this part of Rome, which was a very small valley. So what they did, they drained the waters and then they started to build the temples. At the very beginning was a religious center, then became political area, much later was commercial. 1 million, the population of Rome, not sufficient. That's why the Emperor Augustus on the left built another forum. Top of the island, don't forget, Roman monuments were destroyed because of fires and because of the earthquakes. It was studied by artists of Renaissance. Look how many holes in the bricks. They used to have metal to keep the marble. You remember I told you about the marble removed from the Roman buildings? The left-hand side represents a little circle. That one is Romanist foundation, 753 BC. Then the second map shows what the Romans conquered, the 2nd century before Jesus Christ. Spain, France, Egypt was conquered. Sorry, not Egypt yet, Tunisia. Theater Flavius, amphitheater, means a double theater. Flavius, because it was built by the Roman emperors of the Flavian family, Vespasian and Titus. The name Colosseum is just a nickname, because where you see the Colosseum, during the time of Emperor Nero, there was an artificial lake. When Nero died, Vespasian and Titus conquered Jerusalem. 72, they came back. What they did? They want to cancel the memory of that emperor. So columns first, then Ionic, and then Corinthian. The arches down below, we have the numbers above them. These were the 80 entrances and exit. Then the second level and third level, there were beautiful statues. But I told you, the Roman monuments were used as quarries of material, and this was the largest quarry of material. Down below on the right-hand side, can you see the little pillars? So the little pillars were used to tie the ropes that they were used to keep a huge astrodome, because then you see the Arch of Titus straight down on the right-hand side. Look, the Arch of Titus. Can you see just one arch straight down? That's of the Golden House of Nero. And then please all together. Imagine all the marble seats like those. And when you go downstairs, you will see slabs of marble with the letters. These were the names of very, very important families, VIP families, written the name of them in the seat, reserved. So here it is, a little reproduction of the arena on top of those basements, which I told you they used to keep everything down there. And the gladiator, they used to come from here. There is a gallery from here. They used to go straight down in the center part of the arena on the exit.
Did you see where's the exit?
It's over there, look. You see those people going there? Look. That way there. Okay, outside the Colosseum. See, you walk and then the steps down there.
Poi non la cancello. Questa è il cuore. Hallo, ik kom door België.
E l'hanno lasciato aperto. Può succedere. Non dovrebbe succedere, ma può succedere. Con le città di non lo fanno, però per il momento facciamo così, no, ma infatti, ma io, se tu fai caso, il telefono adesso ce l'ho sempre staccato.
Louder, please.
Hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore. Bells are ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, singing of bells.
Souvenir, souvenir. Pensi che non mancato adesso?
You're the one doing stuff.
Senti, allora non lo so perché non l'ho lasciata perché ti ricordi il caso che è successo che l'ha filmata, sì. Due cose qui. Guarda lei finito. Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Dove stanno con
We are here.
It will be big enough, eh?
Yes.
Dirty dog.
Era qua, eh? Arrivato il messaggio, magari mi ha arrivato il messaggio che dicevi sto a casa.
saw that.
Dat kan niet worden.
It's really not that cold.
No, it's not.
This is exciting.
Yeah, we do this
Okay, you do
every
the thing.
day.
Fine, yeah.
It's a shame the sun isn't shining.
Suppose we go to the match day, well, it's not so
Well, Sabrina was saying by the time that we're up there, the
I think some
Saturday.
of that, has there ever been a little car fallen down or something, you know? I look
No.
If I think of that James Bond movies,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a little...
Here we go, long. Geez,
I
think
wonder
by
what
that
do you
time
think?
we've passed down.
Ek sal nou so 'n boompie gryp. I wonder what you would do.
What?
I think I'll... Yeah.
One there.
Yeah, you just come in here. It's very quiet.
That's fine.
And
I'm
this
glad.
is the ski school. Just below you now is the ski school where all the learners start.
See, it's not very steep.
It's not.
They
It's
usually
very
all right
gradual.
learning, I'm right.
Yeah, no problems there. Uhr. Der Hütte da. 12 Uhr an der Hütte. An der Bergkraft.
Now look down there, we have a slash puppy shop in there. Let little Phil, run
I said, there's a cat. But he, no, I want to see it. Why is that cat jump? What's he doing?
Everyone's aiming at
Do you? You're going to have in your head. It's not funny anymore. Hey, let's get them. This is a...
Qua vedete adesso il tavolo.
You on? You on? If we... I know, because I'm a sunshine person. If you think of it, it's very charming.
Maar dit
Blöde Schamsbuchs.
This looks good.
Wird mir uns die Karte gegeben.
Die
That's also one where they're resident because of the flag.
They're leaving. They're leaving inside.
Then the flag will be flying, otherwise she'll be out in the countryside.
Camera. Cannot give us the White House fire.
Yes.
Guys, in front of us on the left-hand side there's a lovely castle. It seems to be in good upkeep, most of it. Please have a look at the vineyards as well, because you'll notice that the grapes grow upwards. They fasten them so that they actually all grow upwards, and they're like a straight, they look like fingers. And that's so they can get the optimum light for the grapes. This is the little mouse castle in the middle. There are numerous legends relating to the Rhine. And the one is that the evil Archbishop Hesse, he lived in a mouse castle and he was fed up with the smelly peasants hanging around the valley, so he decided to get rid of them. He built a tower in the middle of the Rhine River so that they could steer the grain harvested. Scream, a nasty piece of work. Archbishop Hesse, pleased with his night's work, decided to row over to his little castle on the river.
Waar is sy? Ek sien haar nog nie.
Many.
Guys, we must look out for the Lorelei. She's on a little rock as we... You see, Elsa, vorige video's van vorige
The favorite places where Toulouse-Lautrec stood paintings. There were a lot of painters who lived on the hill of Montmartre, or at the foot of the hill in this section of Pigalle, because in the 19th century,
opera, you see, on the left, what was meant for the horse, that is to say without any steps, because horses do not, this is the facade of the opera on your left. So this is the facade of the opera. We have cleaned it 2 years ago, so that's very beautiful because you can see the colors of the columns and of the bronzes tomorrow. And this was built by the same architect who built the Palace of Versailles. Because the house belongs to Mr. Al-Fayed, who was Dodi's father. So Dodi, Al-Fayed and Diana had dinner there, and as all the journalists were waiting on that side of the hotel, they left by the rear exit, stepped into the car, drove to the middle of the square, and the Eiffel Tower in the distance, where we shall stop next. So this is beautiful in the evening, you see. The obelisk in the middle of the square was presented to France by Egypt. Did you hear that? In a lot of books they tell you that it was stolen by Napoleon, and it is not true. Napoleon died in 1821, and we were presented the obelisk in 1836. This time Napoleon is innocent. And it is not a war booty. It was presented to us because the French archaeologist Champollion could decipher the hieroglyphics on the obelisk. And they were so happy to reread the history of their antiquity that they gave us this one. Like the Admiralty. The one on the left, the Crillion Hotel. Can you see the Union Jack on the Crillion Hotel on the left? It is because Elizabeth II lives there. She doesn't. She lives very close to the residence of the French president in the Palace Marigny, where all the French guests live when they come to Paris. But where we are at the moment is the garden, you see, and behind the trees there are good restaurants and a few theaters and playgrounds for children to play on daytime. And the second part, which is just before the arch, is the commercial part, the business section of the Champs-Élysées. On the Lanvin, Cardin, all the names of the fashion in Paris. So there's a lot of trees, not a lot of gardens, no theaters. There are office buildings left and right, and people are working here on their time. And in the evening they are coming for their entertainments. In the restaurants, the one called the Alsace, for example, never closes. It is opened all year round, all day and night, all the time. It never closes. And there are many restaurants, discos, cafes, cinemas, nightclubs. And for example, on that street there are 39 movie cinemas. Can you believe that? And I don't have a television. I wouldn't have time to watch television, but I go to the cinema 4 to 5 times a week. To commemorate his triumph, his victories, his battles. And after Napoleon's death, they turned it into a national monument, and in 1920 they buried there the unknown soldier. And since 1923 there's a flame burning nearby which is called the Eternal Light, which is burning nights and days and which kept burning even during the German occupation of World War II. And at the end of World War II, a British pilot of the Royal Air Force free. Look below, you will see the flame, won't you? And this is the tomb of the unknown soldier, and on the arch like 12 rays of a star. And if you look in the distance on the right, you see the new arch, which is 5 kilometers away and located in the section called La Défense.
Vienna.
Hey, they got fireworks in there.
Where's the sound maker? Yes, sir. Where's the camera on it?
I wish I could go down.
You can see the river, the level of the island below the river is very, very low. And beyond the bridge, the buildings were built from 8 to 10 meters higher to prevent from the floods in springtime, 3 months before she was beheaded. Now you can see the bell towers of Notre Dame, and you can see that it is very well cleaned. They have cleaned the facade with laser rays. You know, laser has the capacity of not only cleaning, but burning the bacteria. And bacteria are eating the stone away. This week, the Sorbonne is one of the oldest universities in the world. It is from the 12th century.
Sto andando a destra.
Sarebbe stato lì.
No, quello è per I taxi.
The splendid facade that we have seen at the beginning of the tour, with the very sophisticated and elaborated decoration of the columns, the sculptures, and the gilded bust of the musicians. The top of the opera, the roof, has the shape of a crown, and this was built on purpose by architect Charles Garnier to please Napoleon III. He made the roof a sort of huge copy of the emperor's crown on his coronation day. And on top of the roof, I'm sure you don't know that, but there are beehives. Did you hear it? There are 10 beehives.
Ce n'è anche nel Lussemburgo. Ce ne sono anche 20, non so come si chiama.
The Trinity Church again. And as you see, there are a lot of scaffoldings on the monument of the city because we're still restoring a lot at the beginning of the season. could. I'm very happy we could make the Eiffel Tower on time because you have seen the illumination there. And we could also make here the Moulin Rouge on time, which is another trouble in the evening. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I thank you for your attention. As a young group, you're so quiet. I'm very impressed because usually young people are not that quiet. It is really impressive. So compliments, congratulations. It was a pleasure. And I wish you all the best for the rest of your tour.
Thank you.
Hope to see you again any other time in Paris. Au revoir.
The circus, then nobody has insurance. Nobody, no car, nobody has insurance. Yeah, it's like the spokes of the bicycle, exactly. If you can see wherever, with nerves of steel. And he sleeps at night and he's always wide awake. And last night he only slept for 4 hours.
Spaghetti. Why? No, spaghetti is charming. What?
A Sprite is 2 years, hey? Can I, and one Sprite, no, and one Coca-Cola Light. I don't know. How many did you order? The one is $3.50, and then I'm ordering a Coke. Yeah. There you go.
Un tío liso.
Fabuleux Far West américain, où les torrents serpentent en toute liberté,